to order. All right, roll call. Alderman Green.
Here.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Here.
Alderman Ray.
Here.
Alderman Witt.
Here.
First of the agenda this evening, we have a resolution to authorize amendment to the city code establishing no parking here to corner of Linden Avenue at the intersection of Chantel Street. Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Please to the mic. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Basically, that was a request from an accountant who's at the corner of Chattel and North Street. She said when she comes up Chattel, it's a blind spot for her because cars are parked very close to the intersection. So we're proposing to put no parking here to corner. We already put it up just in case because she stated it's dangerous condition, but it's not enforceable until you guys put it on until you approve it. If you don't approve it, we'll take it down.
Okay, but we're not going to be voting on it tonight, are we?
Excuse me?
We're not going to be voting on it tonight, are we?
Yes.
We have the resolution?
As long as you want to.
Okay, all right.
That's a very. It's a safety. Tell him it's public safety. You know that. Does he?
Alderman Green.
I'm all good with it, and I just want to say that if you look at Google Maps for that area, there's a car parked right up to the intersection, so I can already understand why it's necessary.
Yeah.
Alderman Witt.
Seems like a reasonable request to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alderman Rodriguez.
Public safety is important, so, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's right.
Alderman Witt. To go?
I'm fine with it. Do we want it painted?
I know that was coming.
The sign is pre-painted. We buy the signs. We buy the signs pre-painted. So no, it's painted. So the sign is pre-painted.
It seems like the committees agree with it, and I'm in favor of it also. All right, so it's a go for us. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Second agenda, discussion parking regulation on Eisenhower Drive. Alderman Green, do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start.
Okay,
Real
thank you.
quickly, I'll make it brief because it actually covers a lot of areas in the city. But specifically on Eisenhower, we do have people who have moved in recently, and we have issues where they're utilizing both sides of the street, which is not super wide, and coming down off the hill, if you're coming down the hill, you kind of have a blind curve there a little bit. I know that it's not going to be seen on TV really, but you can see here's one instance where if you had emergency vehicles that had to get through, you would have a difficult time. So really this is, for me, it's in the interest of public safety versus, making the street nice for neighbors, but, it's just one of those things where I know it's a pretty large stretch that I mentioned in the thing from, I forget what the whole thing here, let me see, it was, Coolidge Court all the way up to Lincoln. So it's a long stretch, but, at any one of those points there, you could get stuck if you had people who were, especially moving into the second part of the email that is included in the packet here. A lot of people are parking commercial vehicles now overnight and later in the evening, that when you have two of those next to each other, one on each side of the road, it really narrows and prevents safe passage, for someone who might not be paying attention or might be speeding. So that's kind of where it came from. And again, the part two was just looking at the possibility of an overnight restriction to commercial vehicles in R1 zone, R1, R2. I'm open for anything, but we have, again, a lot of new residents who bring their business home with them, but at the same time, we have a lot of residents who've been here for many years who, don't want to sit on their porch late at night or hear trucks, parking in front of their lawns or things like that. And we have a lot of people who have commercial trucks and trailers who are parking on the street overnight, which, again, it just creates a danger as it gets dark. If there's kids, we've had issues with kids that run out from behind trailers that you can't see. So I know that other municipalities have instituted a commercial vehicle restriction on residential streets. I would like to, just see if we could explore that.
Thank you. Commissioner, is there anything you want to show us?
Well, I can show you what the alderman is talking about.
Okay.
Computer already? Yes. Okay. This one or that one? Thank you. That's what the alderman is talking about, and now you're heading up,
Eisenhower?
up Eisenhower, yeah. And he is speaking of, like, you see this car parked here? It's not parked, it's driving. You see here, like, the FedEx, let me go back. What he's talking about, you see how the FedEx truck is parked, and you have another car across from it. Now the car is going here.
So just for everyone's notes, the side of the road I'm proposing would be the side that you would be driving down, sorry, just as this happened. So not the side the FedEx truck is on, the other side. Because in one of the photos, that's also the side that has, I believe all the fire hydrants are on that side.
So that's what you're
And they were being blocked by some of the parking. Not that that's a police matter, and the police have been called about that before, but again, it's just adding an extra layer of protection.
So basically what you're saying is if one truck like FedEx truck
Park on
parked on
that
one side, and then you are permitted to park on the other side of the
opposite
street,
side,
there's enough for one car to go through. That's what he's talking about. This is repeated all over the city, but they made this request here.
It
Okay.
is, but on this street, it would actually be okay because everyone
Turn
has
your
so
mic
much
on.
frontage that you don't find, and has a driveway.
Alderman Way.
In terms of, like
Alderman
elsewhere in
Way.
the city, you would have
Can
a
you turn-
shortage of parking.
can you
I'm
turn-
sorry.
yes, uh-huh.
Elsewhere, you'd have a shortage of parking by doing one side. Here, at least, most of these people are parking in their driveway when it's their house, and guess there's enough road frontage. I don't know that it limits the parking. So you want to go the whole stretch, all the way down?
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Not the whole stretch, it would just be from, I just did it, when I looked at the map, I did it from Coolidge all the way up to, what is it? Truman, thank you. I keep wanting to say Thomas Jefferson, but that'd be the other way and really short. Yeah, so it's just because they were the two streets that, connect, that you could, easily say no parking here to there. But if, we want to do a shorter stretch, that's okay. But again, it could happen anytime, any place that people could park.
Have you spoken to the people who are going to live here and drive this every day? And
That was going to be mine, yeah.
This is coming from a lot of
okay,
calls.
I just
Oh,
wanna
yeah,
know
no,
if maybe,
just
like,
a lot
those
of
people
calls
know
and a lot
this
of
is something
concern.
that they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm fine with that coming.
Yeah. No, this is
It's your
hopefully helping to alleviate some pain points that we've had a lot of issues to deal with lately.
Alderman Rodriguez.
I think I'm a little confused, so maybe you can help me out. These homes, you said that some of them have their own vehicles and their business vehicles or commercial vehicles, and maybe that's
Sorry,
what's
so this is, so it's two separate matters. I apologize. I just kind of took one and moved it to the other, but, because they kind of do intersect at some point, but, for lack of a better word. But no, this is just strictly any vehicle.
Are you looking at no parking any vehicle on that
No
side?
yeah, this would just be no parking on one side.
One side.
Yeah, just on one side.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about.
Well, especially, and I think maybe the email didn't include the photos, and I can share them and provide them, but, especially at this one intersection where we're having a lot of issues currently, it's really coming right down the hill where you can't see, so it's almost a blind curve. It doesn't look as bad as it actually is, but if someone comes down that hill and, they're not looking or they're distracted for 2 seconds, someone could easily slam right into a vehicle, and then we're talking a little more, tragic,
Have that ever
occurrences.
happened in the past, or just?
I would have to ask the chief to pull, data. I don't believe anything's happened there, at least in my tenure on the council. But I'm just trying to avoid it. And the neighbors are also concerned when you have that many vehicles parked on both sides of the road
Makes
with
sense.
a lot of kids that are running in between, or people just can't see, can't look, so.
Makes sense. Alderman Witt. Okay, all right. I thought you was raising your hand.
No, actually, I was, but that's okay. I'll play. No, my first reaction is, and I appreciate certainly what you're saying about the parking in people's houses, but Eisenhower Drive is probably wider than
Was just
80%
about
of
to
the
ask
city.
how wide that street is.
So I think that, I don't know, I'm not seeing it. I think there's other, for the reasons of emergency vehicles, I mean, I lived on Commonwealth for 14 years, and, I mean, it was tight. Watkins is tight, Highland is not, but then you go Wilkin, Walk Hill, you know, certainly in our ward too, all the narrow streets, my initial reaction is I don't see this. So, thank you.
Alderman Green, thank you.
No, but with all due respect, I'm the one who's seeing it, living it, driving it, and hearing it from my constituents. If your constituents asked you for help, I would, defer to you. I understand it's a major throughway of the city, but it's also a public safety matter.
Give me a minute, okay. Alderman Mary.
I always like to, again, that's your constituency, which is why I only ask, like, we ask the neighbors, but my only other concern, because again, that is your constituency, but my concern is, are we checking on specifically how wide that street is? Because if other areas of the city come in and say, well, you did it there, and my street's more narrow, so what's the guideline, and why can't I have it? So like my partner likes to say, our unintended consequences could be that we are opening a door to people demanding these things on their road. So I don't know if we're setting a parameter, are we gonna take a measurement, are we gonna?
I can answer to that.
Okay.
Because in this committee a few years ago, we had brought up measuring streets to see which ones we needed to do this on, and it never happened. And I have other photos of other streets where it's more dangerous. And I think we need to do this where we go around the city and we bring a list that says we need to measure these streets. I think it needs to happen because cars are not getting smaller. People are having more vehicles at their homes. It's time to get on with we don't live in a day of horse and buggy and
You
small
understand that,
beetles.
but we also have a city with not a huge amount of houses that have tons of driveway space to support those vehicles, so if we're
Well, then we
keeping
take
them
it on
off
a
the
case-by-case
street as well,
basis.
it creates,
A street-by-street basis. That's what we're here to do, is to work on our wards.
well, then I would.
have
say-
Columbia, I have
Right,
all
I'm
these
not-
other
and I
streets that are
don't-
bad.
I'm not arguing your point. My argument would be more that if we're going to consider this, that it does need to be not, you can have it, and then we'll check the rest of the city, then I think we need to figure out.
Oh, no,
if
no,
there's a
and I was
standard.
hoping we would open that conversation from this, is basically where I'm coming from. So I appreciate that
Okay, that's
sentiment.
my-
I really hope
That's
that
my
we can
thing,
look
is like,
at
is it a standard? or
No,
is
no,
it
no,
a-
no.
Somebody's
I'm-
just getting it on their
Exactly,
street?
okay, so I'm not asking for spot, let's do it here, let's do it here. I'm saying we need to take
All
a
right,
look
let's
at our
see.
wards.
Alderman Massey, thank you. And
Sorry.
I'm hoping you're not looking for a resolution
No,
tonight.
no,
but
not at all.
Chief,
it's
would
just a
you
discussion.
care to comment at all?
I was gonna,
If we were to do it on Highland, Eisenhower, has there been any incidents?
I did not, I'm sorry, I did not.
And I know you
prepared
haven't.
To answer that tonight, I'd have to look at data.
Well-
To my knowledge, when you say incidents, you're saying accidents or?
Well, I know you've been getting calls, and normally, by the way, I happen to agree, if it's in your ward, it's in your ward. However, I also understand, looking at it, if a precedent is set on a street that wide, what do we do when, certainly not Ogden Street, but Prince Street comes in? Or, so it's something that I have no problems exploring, but I certainly wouldn't want to make a definitive tonight at all.
Oh, no, I'm not looking for a definitive, especially tonight, but I'm
Chief,
saying.
would you look into
I want
that,
it to be
Chief?
done.
Mayor,
Sometime?
can you?
Yeah.
Thank you, Alderman Massey.
I just want to get this done throughout the city.
Yeah, well, there is a precedent for doing it. We did it on Du Bois, and we did it, I think, on one other street over there. Much more narrow
Yes, I remember
streets.
that, last year. Yep.
But I understand Kate's point and Kevin's point also. My biggest concern would be the neighbors wake up tomorrow morning, and I'm not saying this tomorrow, wake up in the morning and see no parking on their whole side of the street.
Well-
I think it has to be more of a neighborhood discussion with the people who live there, and then similar to what we did with the sidewalk on Rockwell, get them to sign off, get, a majority of them, establish a criteria, what Kate is saying, if 80% or 70% or whatever the number you pick, similar to what we do for block parties. If you have a block party with a petition and they come in and then we're willing to do it. But if we have a few neighbors that say, no, I don't want my block closed, we say no. So it is complicated. I think we are reacting to one house, no question about that. But we have to be careful as you proceed, and we have to be careful in the sense that communication with the others is of vital importance to me. And that would be how I would proceed in looking at it.
And I understand your point, and as a matter of fact, last year on Du Bois, Sparrow and I actually canvassed the area and speak with all the neighbors. I remember that, and we also put out flyers, what was going on.
And they were
So
much more
we had a great
narrow
feedback from the neighbors.
Right,
And
right.
everyone seems to be on board with what we wanted to do, and we move
Yeah, the
forward with that.
canvas is key.
Yes,
I-
correct.
Even
correct.
in California,
Correct.
when you were doing the bridge and
Yep.
diverted traffic, and we went to the one side, I knocked on every door and was like, guys, just want you to know why we want to do this and why. And they were like, oh, no, that makes sense. So
Agreed.
just as
That-
long,
that's
you
the
don't,
important
like you
part.
said, you don't want entire, that's a long stretch. People come out and being like,
Correct.
where's my cousin going to park on Friday?
And
Exactly.
it seems
And
like
it also
we,
may shift people up the street too. So people who had, if this problem's at 30 area, you might shift it up to the 60s and the 50s. And maybe they're not going to be that happy. But you guys are the aldermen there.
yes.
But also it has citywide consequences. But I think it's some homework to be done. And submitting some type of documentation to the council that an overwhelming majority of the people on that block on both sides agree with what you're trying to do.
Correct.
Because the
Yeah.
people on the other side are like, well, now everyone's parked in front of my
Park in
house.
front of my house.
Correct,
exactly.
correct.
Exactly.
Yep. And the
my
commissioner,
lawn.
I think you did canvass the area, and you did take measurement when we did the boys, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, exactly. Du
Okay.
Bois and Spring, if you
Correct.
remember, you and I were taking
Correct.
measurements and talking to the neighbors and yeah,
So-
absolutely. So we've done it. Whenever this matter came up, we measured. We
Correct.
did not measure the whole city. We measured the areas of concern when people complain about it. And that neighborhood, Earl and Du Bois, they ended up losing parking.
Correct,
Before
correct.
they wanted to have more parking on one side or the other, and they ended up losing one parking on the whole side of the street once we measured it. The chief went as well, and some of his.
Okay, so moving forward, can you do the measurement for us, so we will have more discussion
measurement for what?
for Hasenau?
I'm sorry, Eisenhower.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah.
Can I, one more
Okay.
thing, just one thing.
Alderman
I'm
Green.
just, as an overall, I just want to open up this conversation for other streets too. If we bring concerns, if we talk to neighbors, I mean, there are going to be some streets where I think we need to do it regardless of what people say. And I think that needs to come from the heads of other departments who have vehicles that drive through those streets. Because there are some where you have a pickup truck every night that's going to park half on the curb and half on the street with a van next to it. I'm not going to bring up street names here, but I'm just saying, I think in all of our wards, we have places that are issues where sometimes the canvassing may not go as it needs to go. I'm not saying for a street like this, that if 80% or 50%, 51% say we don't want it, then I would say, no, we're overriding it. But I'm just saying, I don't want to go into this saying, well, on a certain other street, if it's so narrow, and we have this issue that, well, just because the people are upset that they're going to lose parking on that one side and they have to cross the street, we're not going to do it, and all of a sudden you have a blocked street. So,
Thank you,
I don't
Andrew.
think that would happen, and I'm not putting that out there that there's a precedent for it, but I just want to open the conversation that there are some streets now that we have to look at as cars get bigger.
Thank you. Chief, is this something that you think you should be involved in?
So, Mr. Massey, you're asking me for data. You want crash data? Is that what you're asking for?
Eisenhower?
Yes. Hasenau.
Please forget about that. If we're going to keep pursuing Eisenhower as the example, if there's anything that's happened up there, either complaints from, that they've called the police department, or traffic violations, or accidents, anything that would lend to this discussion.
The Eisenhower, I believe, and excuse me, but I believe we're looking at one house, and there are complaints around that house for a multitude of things. And one of the concerns is the parking of the individuals that come there on the weekends, on the evenings, on the weekends. They are parking legally right now because there are no parking restrictions. We have canvassed. We've tried to mediate the situation through our neighborhood unit. We've actually done a canvass of the area, of the residents. The residents don't really want to be identified and get involved, but overwhelmingly, most of them said the only concern they have is parking, that when there are a lot of people there, it is both sides of the street. But as you're all saying, if you restrict it on one side, it's just going to shift it to the other side. So I don't know if that's the solution to that problem, but I understand where you're coming from, that there are concerns in narrowing streets. Myself and the commissioner went out last year and measured streets, and we witnessed it ourselves. As far as the vans, to me, that's a touchy subject because some of them are not commercial vehicles, even though they're vans. They're not registered commercial because that's a weight limitation. But these are also the residents that are buying homes in our community that are now working to support their homes. So then we have to penalize them. But I understand that people don't want to see the vans on their streets. We get calls about this all the time. Unfortunately, the way the law is right now, there's nothing for us to restrict the van parking on the street. And then if we say commercial vehicles, that turns into a commercial vehicle of what size? If we look at vans, we're looking at pickup trucks because they fall in the same category then. So I think we just have to watch the slippery slope as to what our ultimate goals are and where we really want to go to impact the residents. As you say, unintended consequences, I think that is definitely something we have to consider with this. But I understand we're trying to find a solution. We've looked at this house on many different levels, and I think every code, everything has been addressed and they've complied. And I got to say, I don't speak to them myself, but the officers that do go there, the resident there, he owns the home. He runs his property different than others in the neighborhood, but he's been nothing but compliant with our requests and our interactions. It's just that the law allows him right now to do what he's doing.
All right.
And I do appreciate the canvas, by the way.
Thank you,
I just
Chief.
want to say thank you for that, yeah.
Since this is becoming looks like it's going to be a citywide issue, I'd like to bring the other aldermen into the discussion. So Alderman Gomez, do you have anything?
Well, I do support the proposal set forth by Alderman Green, and I do believe that we could do something reasonable that will address. It's on.
Oh.
That will address. Okay, let me go back. I do support the proposal by Alderman Green, but I do believe we could do maybe something more comprehensive that will address the concerns of the members of the Common Council that have more narrow streets. Like I think Alderman Witt mentioned Commonwealth or Watkins, for example. But one thing I do believe that this Eisenhower has its own unique characteristics. And the driveways there are most of them are very wide, so it's possible so that if the delivery truck is coming to deliver, that they could park into the driveway as opposed to have a situation where there's a blind spot, especially when coming down the hill, where an accident could happen. And also, mind you, this particular area of the Second Ward, Presidential Heights, you have not only sometimes people that drive a little too quickly, that's an issue I'm going to bring on another date, but also it's one frequented by people who are doing exercise, walking to the park. You see a lot of joggers, walkers in the morning. So I think the trying to ameliorate, as Alderman Green's proposing here, is reasonable, but maybe let's get it more comprehensive so nobody feels that their area or their neighborhoods may get the wrong end of the bargain. I think we could work something here positive for all the neighborhoods.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Johnson, it's your turn.
Well, thanks. Obviously, there's more than meets the eye. I think if you wanted to objectify this survey that we're talking about, I think we would probably use as a criteria, can an emergency vehicle get through this street? That makes it very objective. Why are you doing this on my street? Well, this fire truck can't get through if there's somebody on both sides of the street. Therefore, we can't have that. That takes a lot of this, why about me, why about my house? And I appreciate Chief's comments about commercial, but there's a big commercial vehicle and there's a little commercial vehicle. And I think that also needs to somehow be addressed. And parking commercial vehicles overnight, that's a whole other bailiwick that we can talk about. But I understand it's a big vehicle, but it's not commercial. It has 6 axles, it has 4 axles. But those vehicles are gonna be much more of a visual problem than an SUV kind of a thing. Thank you.
So at this point, we think we should table this, this meeting and for further discussion for our next meeting or so, all right?
Good idea.
So the meeting is adjourned.